Hey guys, it's me again. Don't forget about me, YouTube. I haven't made a video in about a week or two, so I'm back, and I'm back with two angles, baby. Two chunky versions of me. What's up? How you guys doing? In the time I was gone, I was on a CNN article, and I also started collecting Nintendo memorabilia. I just got my hands on this Majora's Mask I'm excited about. And other than that, it's still the same old me, worried out of my mind about the housing market and buying a home. Funny enough is my wife and I have actually been thinking about buying a home, and we got some firsthand experience from how freaking crazy this stuff is. So, you know, as someone who makes a real estate housing content on YouTube, it's easy to just make these videos about how crazy things are because we forget that there's actual real people being affected by this. Like when we're talking about how crazy the housing market is, yeah, that means people aren't getting homes. Or when there's people wishing for a housing market crash, people and families are losing their properties. This is not something silly and funny, and we shouldn't just say things to create views, right? So in today's video, to be a little more positive, we're actually going to share some personal experience with you. Where maybe like you, my wife and I were looking to buy, we're educated, we're pre-approved, we got our savings right, but maybe the market has just forced us to adapt or wait. Some of you guys might be waiting till things calm down. Some of you guys might be waiting to have more savings. Some of you guys might be even waiting for a housing market crash. Whatever floats your boat, I want to talk about what are the three things that we are doing as a family to prepare, to maybe give you guys some ideas of what to do to prepare. We saw this beautiful house that was in our actual neighborhood, and we're planning on being in this neighborhood for our whole lives, even when we become old folks. And I got white hair, you know, I'm already starting to grow some white hair here, so it's getting a little tough. We know we're going to be here, and there is this beautiful house in the right part of the area that we want, and the price is okay. And even though I wasn't really comfortable or thinking about it, it seemed like a good opportunity. But when we started really digging deep, we're like, holy crap, there's what kind of offers on this? I don't know if we can compete with that. So we decided that we're going to take this as a sign to say, we're going to be looking soon. So let's start preparing. And one of the first things I really settled down is getting my budget together. Now, I don't mean like a cute little like Excel sheet or something like that. I mean, literally having a good flow of where your money's going. And for me, I've done this before, and maybe you can relate to this, where you think I'm gonna get my budget right, and you start maybe tracking your expenses, or you go back and you put everything in a sheet, and you just make yourself feel like crap. Oh my gosh, I've been spending this much on fast food. Oh my gosh, I spent this much on Target. And you just go into this depressive spiral of what's wrong with you and how dare you. This time I decided to do things a little differently. I decided to start with forgiveness, because at the end of the day, I've made mistakes before, but let's start from where I am now. What I did is I said, you know what? Let's start off with the money we have now in the bank, right? And budget from this point on. Whatever has been paid has been paid. Let's figure out what the monthly bills are. Let's figure out what's been paid, and let's set the budget for the rest of the month. I got a good idea of what my incoming income is and what my expenses are a month. And it really helps you boil down what you're spending your money on. And by budgeting every single dollar that you currently have, you can start getting a good sense of where your money's going. You start finding money in different places you didn't know you had. Now for this, I literally started with the paper and pen. You could use an Excel sheet, a Google Drive sheet. I actually use something called YNAB, or youneedabudget.com. Funny enough, promise that's not the point of the video. I've been affiliate with them for like forever, but I've never used their software. But when I downloaded, I checked it out. I'm like, holy crap, this is actually pretty cool. I like to use software because I'm a more techie guy. You don't have to do this. Once again, not the point of the video, but it really helped me get a good clear of where my money's going. So regardless if it's an Excel sheet or paper and pen or YNAB, you guys definitely should get a good sense of your budget, because step 2 and 3 are not, they're possible, but they're just a lot more difficult to obtain if you don't have a good idea of where you can put your money. What we did is we went down the list of our budget and we asked ourselves, does this make us happy? Looking at the MeUndies underwear I get every month, I saw that and I said, well, does this make me happy? Yeah, it's underwear, but it doesn't make me happy. Maybe it makes, I was gonna say some other people happy, but you know, no one really sees my underwear, so I guess it brings more sadness than happiness. So we get rid of it. And gym memberships, are you using this? And of course, you do look how swole I look. Of course I'm using it, but you know, my wife challenged me, if you don't go at least 3 times a week, we got to cancel it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So all these kind of things, we just start kind of shedding, right? And I don't believe that we should, go into a lifestyle of being Sherpas and, eating rice and beans every day. So that's our first step that we did. The second thing we did is, now that we were aware of where we can, what our savings amount is per month and what we can do with that, we wrote down all of our credit, everything on our credit report. And, you guys might think I'm this perfect credit person because I'm on YouTube speaking about, real estate. To be honest with you guys, I'm like a lot of you. Sometimes I'm doing amazing and I'm in my mid 700s strolling along being a Chad. Other times I'm like, what the hell? I'm at 690? What happened? It happens. And so what we did is we made a plan to start combating our credit, to improve our credit, to get ourselves in a position where our credit's helping us. I didn't say to pay off our credit and be debt free, because I know that's something that people commonly do. I mean to help us get credit. I am not an expert in this field. I just know kind of what I know. And I know that creditors like when you're about a 20% balance of what you owe. 20% balance of the total limit. So if you owe $1,000, $200 balance, etc. And what we did is we just set up the plan. Okay, which credit lines are a little higher than they need to, and which ones we need to start paying down. And ones that are already 10 or 20%, leave them floating. Let's just keep paying the minimum payment. Yes, Dave Ramsey's not going to be happy with us, but we're setting up in our position to get our credits in excellent shape. When you're buying a house, it kind of happens so fast that within like a month or 3, you're already looking for a house. And that doesn't really give you the time to start getting your credit in shape. So it's almost like you're in a semester and your professor decides to give you your final exam halfway through. The people that have been preparing well are going to be fine. But the people that are just barely getting along, like me, are going to be like, holy crap, you're going to catch me with my credit score low, and I'm not going to get a best interest rate. So something that we actively doing is working on getting those balances lower. So when we are ready to go or the right opportunity comes up, we're going to have our credit a lot more sharper than usual. So for our third and final one, I really went through a journey to get to this point. I just really did some self-reflecting, and I saw, what was I really taught with money? Growing up in a not so good part of town, with not a lot of income. I wouldn't say I was poor, but I was definitely lower middle class, lower class. My mom or dad never sat me down and said, hey, this is what you do with your money. Or they simply say, you're going to work soon, start saving your money in the bank, and one day you buy a house. And one day when you buy a house, you're going to go on YouTube and find this really great guy. And then once you have your house, you're just going to live in there. You keep saving your money for emergencies, and that's it. And maybe this resonates with you, maybe it doesn't, but a lot of us were not taught how to invest our money properly. I totally get this is against everything I ever teach on this platform, but I just think it's really important to remember that housing is definitely important and should be a big component of what you're striving for. But this idea of your house being an investment is great, but it shouldn't be your only investment. You guys have to remember there are different ways to invest your money. Take the time to save, of course. And when you do save for a house, I do recommend some kind of savings account. That way you can be able to pull your money out quickly. But take the time to research some other ways to invest your money. Like, this is going to sound crazy to you guys, but I never really understood how mutual funds work. I never really understood how you invest in the stock market. I thought you needed to go sit down with some old guy, your stockbroker, and have him freaking tell you, hey, this is what you do, put your money here. Guys, it's so crazy. And once again, I know this might not be resonating with some of you. You might be Javier, but maybe there's a lot of you out there that needs to hear this. You're here watching me now because you're researching how to buy a home. I'm here to tell you there's other ways to invest your money too. Take the time to learn about stocks. Take the time to learn about mutual funds, how they work. And I'm not telling you to put all your money there. Of course, it's a terrible idea to just put everything in there and hope for everything to go crazy. But, if your income is like a big old pizza and about 3 slices are for your savings, well, maybe use half a slice to put into some kind of fund, or maybe a slice to put into stocks or something. Your house doesn't have to be your only investment. Take this time to learn more about other investments. You're here watching me now on YouTube because you want to learn how to buy a home in an effective manner. Well, there's a lot of other great channels out there who are teaching about stocks, about mutual funds. This is a world I'm barely getting into. I'm barely starting to learn. I'm learning along with you guys. If you guys want, maybe I can share some of that journey. Like, I got really lucky with Doge early and I got out, not at the top, unfortunately, but, relatively soon. Also, I started investing in crypto like 2-3 days ago. And just for those that don't know, that's currently May 19th. So at first I invested like $500 and I was like, dude, I'm at 580. The next day I was like, I am the freaking Geiga chat. I'm at 450 now. Terrible. But the point is that you experiment with things, put some money there to start understanding this at a higher level. I recently sat down with a mentor of mine that sat with me for like an hour or two, just explaining how she invests in certain stocks and what her plans are. And, she showed me her portfolio and how it works long term. And I know there's people out there saying that the stock market's going to crash now. There's going to be people saying the market's crashing in whatever you do, If you buy long term, you'll be fine. That's all I got to say with anything. So, but yeah, I told this person that sat down with me, like, I don't think you realize how much what you just did for me. Like, just thank you so much. Not only did you change my life, but you possibly changed the life of my children and my children's children. And, this idea of generational wealth is something that should be taught to everybody. So, if you guys are interested in having me talk more about that stuff, then I would love to talk about that more stuff. But if not, guys, use this opportunity to learn more about that. So if you decided to wait to buy a home, this is how I look at it. It feels like a punch in the gut. It feels like we lost the battle, but it doesn't mean we have to lose the war. Take the time you're going to take to kind of wait, to prepare more. Get those get those savings up. Get that credit score higher. Get your budget in a good position where you'll be able to jump on something if something pops up. When you're ready to start looking again and you're ready to start looking for the first time, I do have a great agent referral service if you want to check them out, homeandmoney.com/Javier. Link is in the description. And of course, remember that your house doesn't have to be your only form of investment. There's other ways to play. There's other ways to invest your money, and you are smart enough to do those things. They're not only restricted to certain people or a certain class. So best of luck to you guys out there. Take care of your money.